Hello. I don't know what part this is, but this is a continuation of why should I obey Quran 5 verse 68 if the Bible is corrupted? I keep on asking this Muslim this same question, and he never does. But in the process, it turned into a series, which I'm now putting on YouTube and other places. And even though he totally ignores my questions and changes the subject to an excellent job of taqqiya, which is the line for Allah, at the same time, I'm able to expose Islam with him and teach others a lot about Islam as they're watching this. So, I'll continue with this thing here. By the way, I'll be reading my words with this side of my face, and I'll be reading his words with my ugly side, well, uglier side of my face, with this over here. So he says this: Do you believe Prophet Muhammad is a messenger of God? And do you believe there is nothing to worship except the Creator, Allah? I have great difficulty believing Muhammad was a messenger, due to what he says, not only in the Quran, but what he does and says in the Hadith. I mean, the sun can't ask permission of Allah to rise without being a lie because, again, the sun never really sets. Also, water can be defiled in more ways than smell, taste, and color. It can get contaminated with germs like typhoid. Also, I don't think eating 7 ajwa dates in the morning will protect me all day from both magic and poison if I eat them. Also, I don't think I have to wash my nose 3 times to get the devil out if the devil does sleep in my nose at night, because I've awakened in the night and had no problem, even if this ubiquitous Satan or devil that's all that Muhammad talks about was sleeping in my nose at night. Not only sleeping, but peeing in my ear. And I have no problem with hearing, even if the devil is peeing in my ear. Also, I don't care if Satan laughs at me for yawning. He can laugh all he wants. I'm not hearing him laugh. So let him laugh. Also, I don't think a shooting star is Mars, Jupiter, or Saturn, or Venus shooting flames of missiles at Satan for Satan trying to spy on Allah. I think they're shooting stars. Besides, the lamps, planets, are supposed to be in the lowest heaven, sky, which is the Earth's atmosphere, according to Muhammad, and the moon is supposed to be in the midst of the zones. Yet non-Muslim astronauts were able to get to the moon without authority from Allah. Infidel astronauts were not attacked by Mars, Jupiter, Venus, nor Saturn in the Earth's atmosphere as they left half of the zones of the Earth to get to the moon. You are crazy. Everything must ask permission to God, the sky, the sun, etc. Look, I have no problem with even rocks asking Allah permission if they are in their rocky, mindless way. However, since the sun doesn't orbit the Earth, don't you think Mr. Pubba should have said it's the Earth that has to keep on asking permission of Allah to keep on rotating? To say the sun has to ask permission to rise at all is a lie. How can it not be? I don't think you believe in God. Otherwise, you don't question God like that. How am I supposed to question God? You believe that God is 3 in 1, or whatever kind of BS is that. It's called the Trinity, which most Christians believe in and don't see as BS, me being one of them. You believe that God has a son. What kind of BS is that? How is it BS? Show some respect for God. I do, because I'm standing firm upon the Injil, Surah 5:68, which says Jesus is not only the only begotten Son, believe it or not. Yeah, I do, because I'm standing upon the Injil, Surah 568, which says Jesus is the only begotten Son of God. Believe it or not, I don't believe Allah has a son. But it does sound like Allah has 3 daughters. You will be punished, my friend, on Judgment Day. Only if God is Allah and tricked me for giving Jesus the power to transform an impostor to go to the cross while Jesus, was taken up to be with Allah, like the Quran says he was. You are crazy. You are crazy. Everything must be as permission to God to sky the sun. I have no. That's it. Yeah. Yeah. We humans say the sun rises from the west. It does not really mean that. Right. But that is how we talk, Mr. Excuse me. Oh, yeah. We humans say the sun rises from the west. It doesn't mean literally. Right. It doesn't mean literally. Right. Very right. Very good. But that is how we talk, Mr. And God also. Yeah. Well, you're ignoring. You are ignoring the fact that even God and Allah say the sun rises when it doesn't. That is not the point. Sure, it's metaphoric to say the sun rises and sets when it doesn't. But to say the sun asks permission to rise when it doesn't really set or rise is a complete and utter lie. There's nothing metaphoric there. It is a lie. I mean, yeah. If Mr. Pubba, I want to tell you something. If Mr. Pubba remained silent and just said the sun rises, there would be no problem other than it would be a stupid thing to say, since we know it only looks like the sun rises. But again, to say the sun prostrates under the throne of Allah before asking permission or seeking permission to rise, that hurts the credibility of Muhammad, Mr. Pubba, big time. And you know it does. I have never met someone like you who don't understand words and meanings of text. Okay. Tell me how I don't understand them. I think you're projecting a lot here, sir. What's wrong with you, man? Do you have a brain or not? Again. Why should the sun ask permission to rise if it doesn't really rise or set? How is that a metaphor? How is that not a lie? And thus proof that Mr. Pubba isn't a false prophet? How? Please show me where it says the sun orbit the earth. Getting back on that again. What does, quote, swims in an orbit mean to you? What does running to a resting place, sets in a murky spring mean? What does ask permission to rise again? Where Allah then tells it, not the earth, to turn backwards, but tells it, the sun, that it will one day be denied to rise, but the sun will have to then rise in the west. Allah tells the sun to rise in the west. How does that not mean the sun isn't orbiting? And he ignores that. So we go back to this other time. I said, back to the time about the Trinity. It's called the Trinity, which most Christians believe in. How can you believe in such BS? Yeah. How can you believe in such BS when the Prophet never talked about that, and they came all with the same message, and that is the most important commandment, and it is God is one, and worship Him alone with no partners like monkeys, snakes, and also not humans like Jesus. Okay, please use your brain. Because in the book, because of the before scriptures, because in the Torah and Injil, there again, are scriptures that make no sense if three personages don't make up the one. And by the way, even Allah seems to be more than what Allah claims to be by using the majestic we, calling himself we and our and us. If Allah is so partner-hating with him, you think Allah would be the last being in the entire universe to ever use the majestic we. Yet Allah does. By the way, how come in the Trinity inducing book of Allah that Allah uses a type of majestic we by saying, let us make man in our image, and then the only person who, yet, by the way, how come in the Trinity inducing book, that is the Bible, of Allah, that Allah only uses a type of majestic we by saying, let us make man in our own image, and then the only person who says we for himself is a demon-possessed man who calls himself Legion, for he has many demons? How come Allah became so partner-hating in the Quran, yet then starts calling himself we and our and us almost all the time? Yeah. How come Allah became more partner-hating in the Quran, yet then starts calling himself we and our and us almost all the time? What makes Allah so one since the before scriptures? Yeah, what makes Allah so one since the before scriptures? You believe that's God as a son. That's kind of BS is that. How is it BS? Did you know that God has 99 names attributes in the Quran? Right. And not one of them is love. How come? In the Bible, God is love, but not in the Quran. How come? Did Allah realize that he's not love? So he took that out? But then the 99 names attributes, Father is not there. Right. Allah changed their mind. Allah changed their mind since the before scriptures. True? How come you think that? How do you think? Yeah. Because Muslims are wrong when they say they all worship the same God? How can a man in the desert, like Muhammad Papa, come up with 99 names, attributes of God? That's a miracle that he came up with that? You don't think someone can come up with 99 names for someone? Just Muhammad can come up with 99 names? Man, I could think of more names for Allah if I were living in a desert with no TV to watch. When even Einstein could come up with a maximum of 50 names, attributes. Where did Einstein try to come up with names for Allah? Where did Einstein try to come up with names for Allah? That isn't Muslim taqqiya you are believing, is it? Again, I could come up with a lot more names for Allah if I wanted. And being that Jesus used the power of Allah to transform an imposter... Oh, I've got to start. I'll stop here.